thank you so much for joining us for today's masterclass. Please share with us in the comments from where are you joining us today. I see that some people is joining us from India, some are joining us from Singapore, US. Wow, amazing. We have a very international audience today, and I'm really pleased to see that. As you know, today's topic is, will ChatGPT steal your job? My name is Maribel Colmenares, and I am a Director of Marketing and Partnerships for Upgrad, a global technology education company formed to impact lives of working professionals by helping them upskill while they work. As a trusted lifelong learning partner, Upgrad supports career growth through frictionless learning for individuals to remain future ready, offering upskilling opportunities that are online, flexible, as well as portable and affordable. We take pride in transforming people who transform businesses, as well as in supporting businesses to transform their people. So I see that some new people is coming and some are telling me to wait for 2 minutes for more people to join. So as you're joining, I'm just really, really glad to know that you're here with us tonight. And we're having a super guest answering very boss thing going around about, will ChatGPT steal your job? I really think this is a very interesting topic, and I'm very excited to have Manny here with us to be talking about this. So can you hear me now? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. No, okay. Is everybody facing the same issue? Let me perhaps put my mic higher. Okay, brilliant. I can hear, I can see a thumbs up. Beautiful. I'm really, really happy to have all of you here. Loud and clear in Germany. Yay, you see our audience is increasing internationally. I'm really, really happy. And as I was sharing, I mean, for those of you that is the first time that you're joining us, I was just sharing a little bit about Upgrad. And, we really take pride in transforming people who transform business and in supporting businesses that transform their people. So this is very important for us. And for those of you that do not know, Upgrad Journey started in 2015 and is now Asia's largest integrated learning, skilling, workforce deploying, and placement company. So the offerings range from online and hybrid degree programs to pathways and study abroad programs, to certification and boot camps, diploma, masterclass, doctorate, and in general programs for working professionals. So Upgrad also provides most of these programs to enterprise clients through our B2B arm, along with recruitment and also staffing services. So till date, Upgrad has touched more than 7 million learners, transforming their career through outcome-based education. And because in today's day and age, individuals are really not just expected to know, but actually they're expected to be able to do. I think that it is a very important topic, what we're going to be talking about today. So learners being at the core of everything that we do at Upgrad is the main reason that excites us and me personally to bring a guest like the one I'm having with me here today. And here with us, all the way from the US, thankfully at the comfort of his own house, I have none other than Mr. Mani Kanteswara Rao Garlapati. And I really hope that I pronounced that right, Mani. So Mani is an associate principal data scientist at Google. And let me share with you a little bit about him and why he is the best person to be sharing with us here today. So prior to Google, Mani actually worked with Walmart Labs as senior data scientist and has over 11 years of work experience across several domains such as retail, insurance, banking, tech, telecom, etc. His areas of expertise include machine learning and computer vision. Mani has 9 US patents in the field of machine learning and has published multiple white papers to his name. Wow. So welcome, Mani, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hi, everyone. Hope you guys can hear me. Thank you so much for the warm welcome.
No, thank you so much for being here. And Mani, over time, the technology has evolved and we have lived through different upgrades in both, software and hardware and continue to seeing updates, happening every day. But I mean, talking about technology such as ChatGPT stealing people's job. In fact, I mean, before our call, I was asking ChatGPT, should people be scared about ChatGPT taking their jobs? I mean, who else to ask, right? This is the right place to
Yeah,
go. And to be honest, the reply from ChatGPT was, as an AI language model, my purpose is to assist and augment human intelligence, not to replace it. So we're here not to hear from ChatGPT, but from the expert himself. And so I'm going to be asking you some questions, which, by the way, I did not craft. They were all given to me by ChatGPT as per just suggestion. So they might be a bit of surprise for you, but I'm sure you'll do great. So
yeah.
let's
So
start, Nani, shall we?
definitely. So so people were asking like what kind of question we should cover. I asked, don't ask me, ask ChatGPT, and I think that's how it should be, right? Because it should be able to tell from a lot of areas what could be the most important, interesting questions to be part of this session. Great, looking forward to.
Yes, absolutely. So perhaps before we start with the questions, would you like to share with us a little bit about ChatGPT? What is it all about? What is the boss about? Please share with
Yes.
us.
Okay, so let me present something. So I just made some slides so that I'll just take like 10-15 minutes trying to understand ChatGPT, its use cases, where all it is present, and then we can go to your questions and we can also answer some of the Q&A from the audience. Um, so before we go there, like you rightly pointed out, technology is evolving, and the way the technology is evolving is kind of helping to solve different kinds of problems, right? Like we started to have different mainframe, then we had personal computers, then we had client server networks with the boom of the internet, where a lot of clients across the globe were able to communicate and exchange data. So that was a completely a change in how internet kind of brought about different technological upgrades. And then came the enterprise computing, having large servers in-house within the organization to manage data and do a lot more processing. And now the era of cloud computing, where you can get enormous amount of compute, storage, everything can be queried with an API. So the technology is evolving and adapting, and ChatGPT is one such evolution point where generative AI has taken a step forward, right? So definitely it's a one step ahead. And even analytics, like if you see, there's a maturity curve, right? Like how do you manage the data, how do you automate data, the kind of analytics that you can do, profiling customers or figuring out trends from the data, or getting some patterns out of the data, or building certain probabilistic models. So this is where the machine learning comes into play, right? Like you have decision trees, Bayesian statistics, classification, regression techniques that are part of it, which is the predictive analytics space. And and then comes the deep learning or the artificial intelligence, where you have large neural networks like convolution, recurrent, or LSTM models. And ChatGPT basically falls in the step four, which is the pyramid of the overall analytics. So so it's a part of the neural network family, where it can it can create different kinds of responses for the same question. So you ask a question, and tomorrow you ask the same question, it can generate a different response. And that's where the beauty of this model is, right? Like it can generate newer responses for the same set of question, and that's how it kind of differentiate itself from the rest. Now, talking about ChatGPT, this is not something which came today like that, right? Like, it has been an evolution. People have been working on this for a few years, and now what we have is one version of ChatGPT, and uh, and GPT-3 is the current version that is there, and we are having GPT 3.5 coming out as well. It's basically used to fine tune different tasks, answer certain questions, summarize text. Suppose you have hundreds of or thousands pages of document, and you just want one paragraph to talk about the entire book. You can just ask ChatGPT, hey, can you summarize this book? It'll give you in few sentences. It can generate code, it can understand and give you suggestion prompts and so on and so forth, right? And ChatGPT is trained only until data for 2021, so it might not know anything or some events which happened after 2021. If you ask ChatGPT, it will not be able to answer. So you can think of this something like even in email or doc, you have an autocomplete, right? Like where you type in something and then you get a suggestion. So it's a similar technology, but with a lot more advanced in terms of how the model kind of is created. Now, if you see the history of ChatGPT, like I said, it started with something called GPT, and we'll talk about different transformer models. So it's a transformer decoder kind of a model that runs in the backend. When they started off with GPT, then came the GPT-1, and what you need to focus is the number of parameters. So as the number of parameters of the model increase, the accuracy of ChatGPT will be better. And the challenge is that you cannot even have a very big model. Then what happens for every query, the cost to get a response will also be very high because it needs to go to these billions of parameters. And as the model becomes huge, every call that you make to the model can become very expensive. So you need to have a nice balance of the size of the model versus also you need to have that infrastructure to be able to process millions of queries to run on such billion parameters, right? So they started with GPT-1, then they increased it to GPT-2, 3, and GPT 3.5 is being planned, and it's being planned to run on code. So what GPT 3.5 can unlock is the Codex platform that it can generate code. So if you write 2 lines of script and the rest of the script can be completed by ChatGPT, GPT 3.5, and then what they did is the Codex, which is the model which can generate code, and the instruct GPT, which is basically based on certain instructions, it can generate some text. A combination of these two was made to create ChatGPT, and that's more like a, improved version of Instruct GPT with a better dialogue that was launched, and we're going to see more upgrades, more versions in the coming years. Where it is mostly used, it's used in copywriting, blogging, creating descriptions for different products, or writing codes. Like if you're a software engineer or UI developer, you can use ChatGPT to create test scripts or boilerplates, or you can write certain logics directly by using ChatGPT. You can build documentations. You can give your code and you can ask ChatGPT to write the documentation for it. So it can basically write it in a markdown format or in various different formats. It can do data analysis as well. Like you give on the data to ChatGPT and tell, hey, can you tell me certain outliers or any of it? ChatGPT should be able to solve it for you. And coming to the kind of model that powers ChatGPT, usually it's called a transformer model, and there are 3 variants of transformer models. One is encoder-only model. You have encoder-decoder model, and there is a decoder model. And Google BERT, BERT is an algorithm which works on an encoder-only kind of a model. Then you have T5, T0, which are the encoder decoder kind of a model. Then we have the GPT, Lambda, GLAM, Blue Ridge. So Google Bard, which is being launched, is a successor of Lambda. So in the backend, Lambda is what powers Google Bard. And all these are decoder only models. And the advantage of this is they are basically few shot tuned prompts or zero shot learning. What does it mean is Even with the small text, it can learn, understand, interpret, and give a response. So that's why decoder only models have become a great hit. With a very small training data, it is able to run and give perform very well. And a quick difference between ChatGPT and Google search, right? Um, Essentially, Google search is nothing but a collection of different websites and pages. And if you ask a particular question, Google search, if it is based on a particular specific knowledge that it has stored, then only it gives a response in terms of answer. Say suppose when is a particular holiday, then it tells you the exact date in the top of the Google search result. That is curated knowledge. What ChatGPT is going to do is, for a particular query, whatever URLs are going to come, it's going to summarize and then give you an answer from that. So it might be accurate or it might not be accurate, but most likely it will be accurate because based on the ranking and the parameters that it has been trained on, you should be able to get good or accurate results. Now, coming to different known issues, you know, it has different kind of questions which might sound similar, but they are incorrect. And it can provide sometimes unnecessary or useless answers. You can generate unnecessary content. You can ask, hey ChatGPT, can you tell me a story with certain characters involved, and it can generate a very new story automatically, and it might not even make sense. It is very sensitive to the kind of words that you input. So how and the kind of words that you choose, the response is completely based on that. The response might be biased. It's all about what you learn is what you output, right? Like from the childhood, as an individual, if you're being learned something, that is what how you perform once you grow up. Similarly, ChatGPT has been trained on already biased data, then there will be inherent bias within the model. So suppose it has been reading a lot of articles where it has a lot of bias towards a particular gender, then the same thing will kind of come out in the output as well. And ChatGPT might not know all the answers. It might refuse to answer whenever, say, suppose you ask, tell me methods of how to suicide. ChatGPT will restrain, right? Because for ethical AI reasons, certain harmful instructions are prevented from ChatGPT to provide. And it sometimes uses the same phrases, how it has been trained. So for different set of questions, the kind of answer might be almost the same. And yeah, so Google is also launching something called as Bard, which is in response to ChatGPT. It's going to be more real time. It's going to access Google's information, and it's going to help provide a lot of query processing, and it can provide along with Google's knowledge that has it built over time. It's going to leverage that and then provide the answers, right? So there are pros and cons, but let's see how these models evolve over time. We have to wait and see which model is working better, which one can scale. It's not just about providing accurate answer, but it also has to be able to productionize. It needs to integrate with a search engine. It needs to address billions of queries per second. So we're talking about massive infrastructure to able to provide responses at that scale. So we need to have balance of everything. And but let's see how things evolve over time. So yeah, that working with ChatGPT, I did some queries with ChatGPT, and probably I'll highlight only. I have a lot of examples here, but I would like to share like two or three very good use cases which I like personally. So something like if you want ChatGPT to explain to a 4-year girl or a boy, the kind of response is very different. So if you are able to see for a girl, it talks about toys, or the answer is mixed, curated to a girl, like big box filled with lot of toys. And for a boy, it's more um, uh, like robot or a smart robot. The kind of words it choose is very different, right? The more questions. Let me choose another good one. Yeah. So this is something that actually happened. So I have a 4-year-old daughter. She one day slipped and bumped her head, and there was a little bleeding as well from backside of her head. So I was really panicked. And there were no hospital, no doctor at that point of time. It was a national holiday, uh, and it took literally like 45 minutes for me to go through all the articles. What should I do? What should be the natural remedy and everything. And I wanted to see, okay, had ChatGPT been there, what would be the response and what care I should have taken. So the response it gave was the exact response that I got from a doctor a day later, to what should I really have to be done. And this is what I understood after going through like close to 10 to 20 different websites, understanding which one is correct, what is right, and trying to make a summary of it, trying to understand the gist and then take an action, right? So it could have helped to a very good extent. And this is something you need to make an immediate action. You cannot like waste time when something hits the head or something, right? So this is from my own journey that I personally like ChatGPT, where it could have helped. It can help you as a general physician for any known reasons. You can avoid doctor visits for general or normal kind of queries. You can ask ChatGPT, and it has a lot more use cases in the manufacturing sector, real estate sector, transportation sector. Education sector is the biggest hit that's going to take with the ChatGPT, because it's an enormous amount of knowledge and with a summarization capability, right? So what does a teacher do? They read 10, 20 books, summarize it, and then present it to the students in the classroom, right? That's what ChatGPT gonna do for you. It can read millions of books and then give you a summary with a summary about a particular topic. And not just that, it can correlate between topics. It can understand what is the intent, and give you very specific answers that you're looking for. So education sector, I think, is going to go with a massive transformation. And not just that, it can build flow charts, something like this, like it can create how different things work by sharing scripts of different workflow diagrams. Say, suppose you want to understand a particular process. You can ask him to generate a sequence. Like it will give you the code. We can use this code to build this kind of a diagram. So it can even build charts. It can provide relationships. So you can ask like how the important characters in Ramayana are interlinked. Uh, it will give you the code, put it on the site, and then it gives you this chart in no time. It can generate synthetic data. It can explain complex queries. So this is some query, complex query. It was able to explain in detail what the query does. It's acting like a teacher. It can create websites. So it basically created the entire bare frame for hosting a website. I just told it I want a website. It can create the content for you for a website. It can explain multiple things. So recently there was a Columbia judge who used ChatGPT to give a verdict. So it can even help here. It can help you to rewrite your email more professionally. If you want to write a newsletter, just put all your thoughts in a doc in a very rough way. Just give it to it. Say, hey, can you rewrite it in a newsletter and for reformat it? It'll do it for you. Document summarization. I think the biggest thing is document summarization. Suppose you want to understand 10 different patents, you can leverage ChatGPT. You can ask it for travel planner. Yeah, so these are different use cases where ChatGPT can help, and I'm more interested to hear certain questions from you guys, and if there's anything more, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Mani. That is really, really interesting. I think the possibilities are endless. No, but
Yeah,
especially, I mean, I'm really shocked in the case of your 4-year-old daughter, right? When she hit her head, and sometimes as parents, you might not really how to react, and having that help immediately, I think it's very useful. But, apart from that, everything else is also really, really interesting. So before going to the questions of the audience, right? I will allow ChatGPT to ask you some questions about, will ChatGPT steal your job? So the first question that I have for you is, in what ways can ChatGPT assist workers in their daily task rather than replace them entirely?
right. So 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 you can some of the use cases which I covered, right? So I would say those are all very uh, day in use cases. For example, assisting in code. So I think that is going to be the biggest game changer next. So we will be not seeing low level coders, developers, testers, but we'll require mid level to senior level folks who can integrate these different pieces of snippets, directly think around high level architecture, how to design a particular code or a product, right? So low level kind of testers and coders would not be required in the near future, or it will be more become there where the job profile is going to evolve. So people need to become more conversant, need to figure out how these AI tools they can use in their day-to-day life to solve different problems. Software development is one big area where it can help. Second, documentation or creating something like artifacts or summarizing text is one other area where it's gonna help solve. Third is automation. If there is a set of things which needs to be done on a daily basis, and instead of doing it manually, you can leverage ChatGPT to assist you, provide more innovative answers and innovative solutions to your routine day-to-day tasks. Fourth, it can help in data analysis. So it has the ability to figure out patterns, trends in the data, and help support, right? So these are the few major areas where it can help very well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with you. If anything, it will really help humans increase efficiency, right? So going to our next question, number two. Can ChatGPT replace human workers entirely in certain industries, or will there always be a need for human interaction and decision making?
Very interesting question, right? So in certain industries, it's gonna bring a massive transformation. I would not say it will gonna remove folks, but it's gonna bring about a massive transformation in terms of the kind of job profiles that are required, right? Eliminate it completely might not happen anytime. I think we have a very long way to go to reach that stage. But we'll have even more newer profiles, job profiles coming up. Something more in terms of compliance, ethical AI. How do you train and improve the smartness of these models, right? So these are all newer trends that will start coming up. So, for example, even in education industry, it's gonna bring a massive transformation. That's what we discussed. But will it replace teachers and the current education system? Not exactly, right? It to that extent, it's going to assist teachers. It's going to assist teachers, students to provide relevant information to the students or relevant information to the faculty to bring education to a next level. Or it can probably a faculty still required to kind of use these tools to provide the right set of guidance and provide that structure. Okay, how You can use these tools to learn different things and plan, making a plan and schedule. So even though it can bring a massive transformation in certain fields, but still there should be one layer of human involvement, definitely. And compliance is the biggest area which is gonna be evolved and where a lot of importance is going to be present with the advent of these generative AI models. Just imagine the amount of data that's going to come in. So you will come to a point where what is the real article versus a fake article, right? And there's so many deep fake models as already in the market that you might be seeing, right? Some videos where you not even understand, is it the same individual or someone else, or there was it a deep fake video. So it becomes very difficult. So it becomes to a point where compliance, ensuring these generative AI models are ethical, they don't surpass certain standards and limits, they don't cross certain rules, providing checks and balances, ensuring every different rules across different countries are maintained. So that's going to be one big new area that will come up with ChatGPT.
Yes, absolutely. I really don't think that humans can be replaced, because at the end of the day, that human touch, that human interaction is something so important for even connection, right? So moving to our next question, we have, how can individuals in industries that are potentially impacted by chatbots, such as customer service, upskill themselves to remain competitive in their careers?
Hmm. That's a very nice question, and that's the biggest industry that is impacting, right? Like the customer service industry, the chatbots. That's they are everywhere. So there's no need for individual to manually answer someone. Now we have telebots, chatbots everywhere to address most of the common queries. So how you can upskill is to figure out areas where you can be more beneficial. So you need to so ChatGPT probably might address 60 to 70% of the general queries, right? But there'll be those 30% of things which any day ChatGPT might not be able to solve. So you will need to pick up that expertise within your domain. So for example, you are a customer care executive in a telecom industry, then you should be knowing more around the tools, infrastructures, what are those unique customer problems that people call for, and how you can become a master on expertise. So you should move to upgrade yourself to become more professional a service executive than what Chat GPT can typically give, right? And even organizations would want that. They would not prefer to have hundreds of people to answer the bulk of the generic questions, which can be easily found on the internet and which ChatGPT can solve. But rather, they would want to upskill the team to answer complex, very specific, sensitive information to the customer by upskilling the individuals.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, how many times have we been stuck with a chatbot, like still not getting the answer that we want, and it can be quite frustrating, right? So I think that even then, organizations, like, there's an opportunity for customer service to come in and then delight the customer, answering as fast as possible, so that, even if the chatbot didn't give you the right answer, you still get the answer that you're searching for, that only a person can be given. And hopefully companies can do it faster, because we're in that day and age where people want things now and fast. So it becomes very interesting. And I mean, it's also a bit of the fault of technology, right? So we need the balance. If we go now to our next question, it's, what are the limitations of ChatGPT in terms of handling complex or emotional interactions that require human empathy and understanding?
Um, so the limitations is if you ask a series of questions, ChatGPT will not be able to give you answer. Like keeping the context for a long time is very difficult. Say suppose you ask 10 questions and then you ask another 5 questions, then the response you get is garbage. It will not be able to give you an answer had your 15th question being your first question. If you have started with a fresh instance, then the answer will be more accurate than getting a garbage answer. So that's number one limitation. Because as in to keep more and more of context in the same session will cause chat gpt to kind of generate garbage or not so relevant output, which is why I know they're putting certain limits within even on Microsoft Bing that you can only ask few set of questions at once. So that's one major limitation. Second, chat gpt is a pre-trained model. It's not a real-time model. So it can only uh, give an output on which it has been trained on. So suppose you ask something that happens in the last 1 month, it will not be able to give you any response, right? So that is another very big limitation. Limitation number three, it's not that easy to productionize a chat gpt model because it's a very huge heavy model, and to run it every one single query you need to have a massive compute, which is very very costly. And that's the reason why if you go to chat gpt website as well, you can see it's already overloaded. There's so many users trying to access, please come again, try later. It's all because it's a very heavy model. And yeah, so these are the top few limitations with ChatGPT.
Absolutely, especially the first days of ChatGPT, right? Everybody wanted their questions answered by ChatGPT, and there were crashes in the system. But
Right.
anyways, I think that ChatGPT is getting smarter by the day and updated also more and more frequently. So if we move to our next question, right? How can individuals and companies leverage on ChatGPT to improve their work processes and productivity rather than simply replacing jobs?
Mm.
I think
So
you've answered this a little bit, but if you would like to add on.
yeah, so exactly some of the use cases that I already covered. The codex, which I mentioned, generating code, that is something, and probably for different kind of communication, that is something. Like just imagine if you have to write a 5-page document and make it come. You need to communicate in a way that to exec level or to more marketing level folks, then you need to change that mindset. So ChatGPT can do it for you. You just tell that, okay, this is the top 5 points. I write, build a 5-pager on this. It gets the context, it understands everything, links it, builds a 5-pager in a minute, right? So I think for communication or summarization, problem solving, decision making, learning and development, these are the big areas where ChatGPT will help people and as well as organizations.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And can Chat GPT help to create new job opportunities or industries? And if so, why? What might those be?
Yes, so definitely. For example, to even empower ChatGPT, you need to become smarter over there, right? So it requires a lot more training data. To make training data, you need a lot more people to review the content, provide a response. You need human curators. So one big push, a wave that is going to come up is human curators, an expert, domain expert. So suppose if ChatGPT should become accurate in providing astrology or astronomy related questions. So there should be a domain expert who reviews the answers and says, "Hey, this is a wrong answer. This should be curated like this," and he should provide a correct answer. So in across different domains, there will be these expert human curators who have a very good knowledge, who can evaluate the response and train back ChatGPT. So that is going to be one big level of job that is going to get created. Second, applications on top of ChatGPT. Now you have ChatGPT, which is it is just in a conversational chatbot, right? Like you can talk to it and you get a response. But there could be so many applications that you can build on ChatGPT, and for every application, it's going to unlock. a UI developer, a middleware guy, a backend database guy. You need to have someone who can manage ChatGPT, who can train, rebuild, and encompass everything. So it's going to only create newer products, newer set of applications to which can help and human lives in multiple different ways. So that is another area where you can see a lot of growth. Third area is compliance. Like I said, with the advent of a lot of these tools, applications, every government will is going to impose rules, regulations, something like IDMEC, DSA plus the European Union, EU Code of Practice. So there are multiple these regulations which are upcoming, and every government would want that these AI tools have all the checks and balances in place. Every compliance rules are met. So that is going to be another big area where ChatGPT is going to create jobs.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, Mani, earlier you were talking a little bit about ethical consideration, right? Could you share with us a little bit more? How do ethical consideration and concerns surrounding artificial intelligence in general, right, impact the use of ChatGPT in the workforce? And what set of companies, what steps, sorry, can companies take to ensure responsible and ethical use?
Hmm. Right. So ethical AI is a very, very big topic, and that has been a very big concern across technology companies. Like, how do we ensure that whatever we are building is taken into consideration, and it's put into different limits. One big consideration is bias, like gender bias, or bias towards a particular topic, or anything like that, right? So it's all based on the kind of data that you feed in. So if ChatGPT is being trained on already pre-biased in data, then even the output is gonna be similar. It can probably bring unfair or discriminatory answers, and it essentially, to avoid that, you need to have training set with diversity, equity, and keeping everyone included in mind. So you need to have that kind of a thing. Second big area is privacy. Because ChatGPT can get exposed to personal information, or kind of different conversation, human conversations, or whatever we talk, it might get access to that, and it can expose someone's sensitive information to someone else. Say, for example, hey, can you share Sundar Pichai's phone number? If it has that information, probably it would share and no one would even know, and it would expose a lot of privacy of individuals, which is a very big constraint, and we need to ensure that privacy for different users is taken into consideration. Another area, misuse. So probably you can use to spread misinformation, provide cyber attacks. So there's the world is full of bad actors, right? There's so many, you can't even imagine what people can do on the internet, right? There's the set of folks who just clog the internet. They make hundreds of calls to a particular organization network, so that particular IP address gets clogged. They cannot even work. So you can even misuse ChatGPT to kind of make millions of calls, and you can provide unnecessary information, misinformation, do whatnot, right? So that is another area. And accountability is another very big area. Probably I can say, um, you will not be able to know who is the actual owner of the content, who created that content, and all of that. So these are like 3 4 different major areas where there's a lot of ethical consideration, and what we organizations are trying to do to overcome them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot to be done, especially in this area, and many concerns around it. But hopefully, we can all work together to make sure that we are protected in this new era.
Exactly.
Um, Another question before we open the floor for questions. And I would say this will be the last question from ChatGPT aloud.
Oh.
Is, how can companies and individuals prepare for the potential impact of ChatGPT on their industries and career? And what steps can be taken to adapt and thrive in the changing landscape?
So I would say every organization, industry goes with a transformation, right? So even we have heard about industry 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 industry revolution that is happening across industry. So we have seen a lot of waves, the boom of the internet, and then we have IoT, Internet of Things. We have machine learning coming up, and then now we are in the era of generative AI models, right? So every breakthrough of technology is gonna lead towards organization transformation, or the way we do business, a business transformation, right? For example, something like a travel portal. So people usually used to go to individual website and try to book. Now we have so many aggregators like Uber. Uber has bring a technological business revolution in the field of taxi service, right? So similarly, ChatGPT, we need to leverage the capabilities and technological upgrades that it's going to provide to the business, come up with a business transformation, and see how it can assist, especially in the field of education, healthcare, customer service, or something like marketing, legal. These are like very big areas, including software development, right? That we discussed. So these are the big areas. So we need to leverage ChatGPT to be able to assist us, and so that the organization as well as individuals can benefit from ChatGPT.
Thank you so much, Manny, and I completely agree with you. We should use technology for our favor or in our favor. So now I'm going to be reading some of the questions from the audience. And I can see that Shahid Hafiz is asking you, how can ChatGPT help in the clinical informatics?
Clinical informatics. Like I said, ChatGPT can help with data analysis. So it's all about data, right? So can find patterns, trends from your data. ChatGPT can help. It can help to do a quality check on your data. It can help you to do your research. It can help to read a lengthy document, summarize, and then explain you the contents of that. So these are some major areas that ChatGPT can do in that specific field.
Thank you very much. Now we also have Dr. Shuhai Wu asking us how ChatGPT will change the education system.
Mm. So I think we touched upon that largely in this session. So one thing is that it's going to help students to give more required answers for different questions. It's going to help faculty to provide innovative problem statements for the students. um, these are all on the positive side. And negative side, students can cheat very easily using ChatGPT. So any assignment you give them, ChatGPT will solve it for them, right? In no time. It can write wonderful essays. So it's going to bring a lot of evolution, definitely. Where, because for example, for MBA, you need to provide essays, summaries, and you need to portray your profile to a MBA university about yourself. What happens if everyone starts with ChatGPT to build their own profile in a more jazzy, fancy way to do that? So definitely, universities are gonna need to adapt. They will realize soon that the students have become smarter. They're using ChatGPT for building essays, and no one even can figure out whether it was written by the student or was it done by ChatGPT, unless you put them in a room without ChatGPT access and then ask them to do it physically, which is not going to happen, right? So things are going to evolve, change. The way the education system is working will change, will have to change, or else students are going to become smart, and they're going to come up with innovative ways. And even the education curriculum needs to and will change in the coming years to bring in generative AI topics into the curriculum. So in 3 days, I'm going to go to a university to give a session on ChatGPT to engineering graduates, so that they're trying to bring these newer technology into the course curriculum. They're figuring out ways how do we design course curriculum so that these newer technology is being taught to the students, and students learn it, and they are ready for the next wave.
Wow, brilliant. Yes, so I hear a lot of efficiency, a lot of transformation in terms of the way the education system curriculum is created, as well as job scopes. I mean, as you know, we do teach some tools like ChatGPT in our programs. So do you have anything to add regarding upgrades programs and, similar tools, since you're already familiar with upgrade?
Right. So the beauty of the upgrade programs, which I like, is the real experience that you get on working on data, different tools. So that is something in par with any other program that can provide, right? So you get real exposure into Python, Keras, different cloud computing, AWS, multiple different Python libraries, visualization tools, and all of these understanding is very important. For even before you want to use ChatGPT, you should know how ChatGPT works. What are these transformer models, right? How does neural network work? So it requires a lot of understanding, and the next wave is going to be generative AI models. And I think all of you need to upskill to know how these generative AI models are going to be built, what are the techniques and tools and knowledge around this, and get your hands dirty by working on live data, leveraging these models, how you can build newer tools and products using these technologies. And I think the upgrade courses that they offer a suite of different kind of programs, and see what can fit for you, and take leverage from it.
Thank you, Mani. Actually, Sahid Hafiz is asking us from where can we get the training. So I believe my colleague Siri will be adding some links of our program. So please make sure to look at the chat and look them up. We'll be more than happy to assist you after this as well. But I mean, just to wrap up this session, I really think that somebody was asking earlier within the chat, and I really love this comment. So, will ChatGPT steal my job or not? Tell me now. And I thought that was very funny, because I think that honestly, at some point we wonder, right? Like we no longer live in a world where you study your career and then that's it. You go out for the world and you're ready for everything that comes your way. That's not how it works. Nowadays, we have to keep on upskilling ourselves constantly. And, that's why Upgrad exists as a lifelong learning partner for all our learners, because there's always different outcomes that we want to achieve, right? Getting your first job, or, getting that promotion that you want, or perhaps changing industries completely because you cannot stand what you're currently doing. There's always something to look forward to, and we're living longer. So we have to constantly reinvent ourselves. So I think technology such as ChatGPT should be an enabler and should be um, helping us to enhance our current capabilities, and be helping us be more efficient and excel at our jobs. So I'm looking forward to see what the future brings us. But I would like to wrap up the session by thanking you, Manny, so much. You've been such an amazing speaker, and thank you for being with us here tonight. I also want to thank everybody that joined us for the session. Thank you for giving us, the most valuable asset that you have, which is your time. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to having you again for our next masterclass. And Manny, who knows, we might be again in another masterclass. Let's think of an interesting topic.
Definitely. Very nice talking to you all. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be part of the session.
Thank you so much, Manny. Thank you so much, Manny. Thank you so much, everybody.